Thank you so much for listening to Hustle and Heart. I'm your host, Edie Weintraub. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Lisa Thiffault, a full-time mom and owner of Lisa's Creperie. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
For those who haven't had a chance to come and join you for your delicious crepes, please tell our guests a little bit about you and your business.
Absolutely. So I own Lisa's Creperie. It's an authentic French cafe and food truck business that has really taken off over the past 7 years. I was born and raised in France, and I've tried crepes all over the nation. Had a hard time finding that authentic French crepe taste that I love, and so after my military career, I started Lisa's Creperie with a tent, a table, and one crepe machine at the Peachtree City Farmers Market, and the rest is history.
Well, and you've had some time on the screen as of late, have you not? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so last year we were invited to compete for the #1 food truck spot in the nation on Food Network, and we competed on season 16 of the Great Food Truck Race, and we took 5th place.
Congratulations.
Ooh, thank you.
So I'm curious, as a full-time mom, tell us how old are your kids?
So I have 3 beautiful girls, an 8-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 5-month-old.
Oh yeah, so yeah, definitely. The girls are not quite ready to jump in and work in the business with you, but maybe your 8-year-old.
Yes, she absolutely loves it. She loves the crepes. It's ironic because there's 3 food trucks and 3 girls, so who knows, maybe one day they'll work on the crepes.
Beautiful. Well, I've had the pleasure of stopping into your establishment a couple of times. There's a project that my team and I might be working on not far from you, and so I had to go look at what was happening in Sonoy and see all the amazing things. So tell us about the evolution of going from the food truck to finding a brick and mortar.
Absolutely. So it has been an amazing journey. I'm so blessed for all the opportunities that have come my way. So in 2017, it started with the farmers market with our tent set up, and quickly after, we were actually put in a predicament of needing the food truck to keep operating, right? So I didn't myself decide that I wanted the truck. I was kind of pushed in the situation where I had to either stop what I was doing or get the truck to continue. So that pushed me into the second step of getting a trailer. So we had this beautiful little red Coca-Cola looking trailer that we first started with that at the market, and then we were approached by Scott Tiglar, who is an amazing entrepreneur and business owner in town with all of the who manages the properties in Sonoy, and we were residents in Sonoy at the time, so I absolutely loved the small town that we were in, and thought the Creperie would be a great addition. And he approached us, and so we were offered the opportunity to take over a second generation space that was originally a coffee shop. We were just gonna turn it into crepes, and then Scott was like, no, the coffee is great, you really should consider the coffee. And so I took his advice, and we bought out everything that was in the space, and then Lisa's Creperie transformed into Lisa's Creperie and Cafe, and it was in that small little shop on Main Street. Then quickly after that, COVID hit. And we had just, it gives me goosebumps just talking about it, we had just invested in a brand new food truck, because I knew as I was continuing to grow, the trailer demanded so much of my physical time, and I needed to make everything as easy as possible for growth, right? So that I could put people in positions of authority and have them operate the truck so that I could then focus on the store. So COVID hit, and we had this brand new food truck now, and we had sold the little trailer, and we reached out on Facebook and asked people in the community if they wanted us to come serve crepes to the neighborhoods from the comfort of their homes. And so we had an outpouring amount of support, and we started taking our truck to all the neighborhoods in the area, breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. And we kept all 20 of our staff working full-time through COVID, and thrived. I think we even surpassed our normal sales in COVID months, because of that. And so that's really when I reached this moment where I knew how important community involvement was. And so little by little, we started getting super involved in events in the community. We took our truck to Noonan during the hurricane that hit, and that really affected me personally, seeing the disaster and how we could give people a platform to help and support Noonan, how they didn't know that they could. And so people were sponsoring us to go back day after day after day to go serve food for free to the community and all the workers that were helping. And so this is all to say that just the community and the love with the Creperie has just grown, and so organically and deep over the years. And so after that, we got another food truck, and then another food truck. So year after year, we've grown to the point where now we've got 3 food trucks, the brick and mortar. We extended our dining room to what was formerly a bakery next door, and now we've kind of got this speakeasy where you order in the front, but then there's this huge dining room with a private room for meetings and events, where a lot of businesses will use the private room to have their meetings there. And so yes, but all this was just one day at a time. I never really looked too far in advance. I just have a huge passion for what I do, and one day at a time, it just keeps growing little by little.
Beautiful. I tell my team, we do restaurant real estate. I say we serve those who serve others. And so it's this beautiful domino effect that we're all in hospitality, we're all taking care of one another. So to hear that you were able to maintain your staff during the pandemic and then continue to grow and add more food trucks all at the same time of having 2 more kids along the way. So bravo.
Thank you. I couldn't do it without my team. That's such a big emphasis on the growth, is like how much I love my team and I treat them the way that I would want to be treated. And I've had many restaurant jobs. I have never had a good experience. And before the military, I did a lot of restaurant jobs. And so I'm so blessed to be able to provide a healthy work environment for these young kids, and also, adults and people in our community. And I would never be able to have grown without them. So it's so important to have a good staff and to treat them well. And I've been able to, have beautiful babies and take my time off and be confident and still have the Creperie thrive and not have to worry about it. So it's been great.
What does future years look like for Lisa's Creperie? Do you intend to add more food trucks, more brick and mortar? Have you sat down and contemplated, kind of the next 5-10 years? Or is it all too much? Edie, ask me again 6 months from now.
Yeah, I know it is a lot. And I feel like I'm kind of maxed out to what I can do on my own for my own sanity. Like there's just not much more that I can handle. And so we know that I will never stop trying to grow the Creperie. I'm just not someone that's happy where I'm at. Like I always want to strive for that next thing. So as much as I'm trying to enjoy my family and be a good mom and focus in the moment, the plans for Lisa's Creperie in the future are probably to get somebody that can help me grow the business, to like tap into what I have no knowledge about, right? So to franchise or to open a second location, having a partner that could help me take it to that next level. So whenever that comes, hopefully it'll come. But
I have a couple of suggestions for you, but that's for another time.
So I'd love to grow it. I've always had the business model of very simple, clean, healthy food. And so the crepes are very simple. They don't have a lot of crazy ingredients. And I've created it in a way that I think can be duplicated and grown to have multiple locations. And so that is the end goal.
Do you feel like with the cafe and then adding the room in the back, does that size and space feel like something you could replicate, or would you combine that and do one space? Or do you feel like you'd like to go bigger? What's feeling good?
Definitely one space. So it
Okay.
is a little difficult to operate. We do the best we can, and I think people love it. But on the back end, it is kind of complicated having the two separate spaces and communicating with the crepe makers and the baristas isn't the ideal situation. So yes, ideally it would be one space for the crepes and the coffee.
Yes. You make it feel seamless to the guests. So your
Good.
team does a phenomenal job. And I know that there's the internal workings, but from the outside, it feels seamless. So
Good.
thank you.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge in running the business?
Um, I think my biggest challenge is like managing people. I'm very hard on myself, and I have really high standards for myself to my staff, and I'm a very much a people pleaser and like a yes man. So just finding the right balance of how to lead a team the right way. Um, yeah, it's probably what I challenge with the most in my eyes.
Well, and I think that's beautiful to admit, right? That's very vulnerable. That's very introspective because I feel like you, right? I own a company. I've got 4 team members with me, and I tell them every day, I'm here for you. How can I make you better? How can I push you to do more and,
Yes.
excel? And so I just always want them to know that I'm here looking
Yes.
to help them grow and nudging them in a way that is respectful, but also in a way that I feel like they can be nudged.
Yes. Yes. Love that. Mhm.
So, what message or impact do you hope to convey through your work, and why is that important to you?
Ooh. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, searching around the world, you grew up in France, you couldn't find a crepe that you enjoyed locally. And so you
Yes.
said, hey, there's a hole in the market. I want to offer this to people.
Yes.
Have you contemplated the impact and the legacy that you're going to be leaving in opening the creperie and the cafe and the food trucks?
Yes. Well, I just want to share the authentic French flavors of crepes to the rest of the world. It's so hard to find clean, authentic, thin, and crispy crepes. And I just pour so much love and authenticity and flavor into the authentic recipes. They're my grandmother's batter. So I really just want to share what real French crepes taste like. And also, giving young entrepreneurs or young people a really great place to work and a safe place, a safe space to have good experiences as this is usually a stepping stone to their future. The food industry is never really an ending point for most people. And so just to be able to give young kids expectations of what a good employer looks like and having high standards for themselves in the future. I never really thought this would be a thing, but just seeing the transitions that I've had and the relationships I've made with my staff and them telling me how impactful of an employer I have been in their lives and how much leadership skills we instill in them for the future. That's a huge part of it too.
Oh, that's beautiful. That gives me goosebumps. Very, very nice to hear. So if someone was interested in opening their own creperie or their own cafe, what advice would you give them?
You have to love what you do, and you just take it one day at a time. If you love it, it will not feel like a job, and it will be more like a passion, and you're just getting up to do what you love every day. And that is the best way to be successful at something. And
And
it's
so
a
much
lot
of
of
that,
hard work.
it's a lot of hard work. I agree. But I also think it trickles down because, you get up and you're jumping out of bed because each day is new and fresh and you love the people you work with. I feel like we all need more of that in our lives.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's hard, but you can't quit, right? Because there's going to be days where you want to quit, and you just have to keep trucking along and keep going. And one day you'll look back and you'll realize that it was all worth it. So just don't give up.
How often do you get to France to visit?
I actually try to go at least once a year. That is my reset button. We don't take many trips, but my whole family is there except for my mother and I. So my mother is in New Jersey. I am here. We don't have any family in Georgia. So every summer I try to go at least 3 weeks to dive into the Mediterranean and purify myself and just get a reset until I get right back into work.
Oh, that's beautiful. There's a chef that I've worked on behalf, and he's Italian. And he does exactly the same thing. He goes back to Italy. He talks to all his buddies. He gets reset with, his resources, and just make sure that he feels, refueled in order to come back and give that, pure Italian love to his pizza and Italian restaurant. So I really applaud that.
Yeah, so true.
What part of France?
I grew up in Nice, but I go back to Corsica. My grandparents are in Corsica. It's this really tiny island in the Med where Napoleon's from. And so every summer, my cousins, my aunts, and my uncles, they're all in suburbs of Paris. We all meet back at our summer home, my grandparents' house in Corsica, and it is just this preserved little rural island that is so, it's like my home. So that's my home, yeah.
I'm super curious because I feel like I've been having this conversation with a couple of our clients that are in food and beverage. How do you help folks understand that the quality of food in Europe is not the quality of food in the States? Because I feel like no matter where I go, we were in Paris this past Christmas.
I know.
And everywhere I went, I'm like, I feel like the food that I'm eating is so energized and so powerful and so loved and so filling that I eat less of it. Or I'm also walking so much, or enjoying the outdoors so much. So I'm curious to hear how you are pulling that through, because it's so much the essence of French food.
Yeah, I thought it was just me. That's so crazy you just said that. I mean, I thought maybe just because I'm from there that I feel that way, but I mean, yes, the quality, I don't know. It's just like the dirt, it trickles down to like soil, like the soil that that grows the herbs and the flour and the butter from the cows, the milk. I mean, this just goes down to the basics. The quality is just so different. We try to import, but also support as much local produce and vegetables and things that we can. But yeah, it's also very simple. So I think a lot of dishes could tend to be over seasoned in the US, and we have a different standard for health quality with the food industry in general. Like, this goes way beyond us. This is like big box health standards all across the board. The Europe, it's just the longevity of life is longer, expectancy, like everything. But we try to keep all of our ingredients very simple and clean, and that's what we're doing, is replicating the French crepes. But yeah, until you go, like, the seafood is so much different, the shrimps taste different, fish, the butter, yeah, it's just a different part of the world.
Well, I noticed and appreciated that in your savory crepes, you use almost of a whole wheat flour, right? Because it's a little bit darker, whereas the sweet ones are more like a either pastry or all-purpose. Did I get that right?
Yes, we use a little bit of buckwheat. So there's some crepes in France that are called galettes, and they are 100% buckwheat. So they're like black, but it's really bitter. And so we have to, I even don't appreciate them for what they are. So the batter that I like is just a little bit of buckwheat. So I put about half buckwheat, half all-purpose. But where was I going with that?
The sweet versus savory.
So yes, we do have two batters, a sweet and a savory batter.
Well, I appreciate that, because I'm going, most people default to flour, even on tacos, etc., because people are accustomed to it. So when it came out, I'm going, this is either whole wheat or buckwheat or whatnot. So I appreciate it, because it's different, and it made it for me that much more enjoyable, because as you mentioned, it's your grandmother's recipe. It's authentic. There's so much more of a story behind it.
Yes, exactly. A lot of, you can make a basic crepe with eggs, milk, and flour, and so most of the creperies you find are that. And so yes, it all goes down to the batter, the authentic French recipes that starts all in the batter, and then putting fresh, simple, high quality ingredients the crepes are simple, but yeah, they're packed with flavor, and that makes them really special.
So
And
what
they're
influence?
free and
Sorry.
vegan batter too. Sorry. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of recommendations or requests for gluten-free, and we always take the feedback from our customers and use it to create new requested combinations. And so now we have also a keto batter, which is eggs and cheese, and you can make that for any savory crepe. And then we do the gluten-free and vegan batter, which is rice flour, tapioca starch, and potato with coconut milk.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that next time. Not that I'm gluten-free, because I eat all your crepes, but I try to limit the gluten as much as possible. If we were in Paris and we were walking everywhere, I would have a croissant every day, like everybody else. But, unfortunately, Americans live a very sedentary life. And so we can't afford to have a crepe every day, but I would really love to. Where do you find influence in coming up with new recipes or new dishes to seasonally influence or tweak over time should there not be an ingredient available?
Yes. So it all started with I'm a huge foodie, and just sandwiches that I've tried. I love to play the sweet and the savory, but recently we do a special every month. We usually do one savory or one sweet, or sometimes both, once a month. And a lot of the times I'll ask my staff, like, hey, do you guys have any special suggestions? Like, what would you like to see? And so that kind of gives them that feel, that the feeling of having a say, and they get excited to have a part in the menu selections. And so that, as well as customer suggestions. The other day there was somebody sitting, and I introduced myself, asked him how their crepe was while I was passing by, and he was like, have you ever put cherries in your crepes? I think a cherry crepe would be so good. And I was like, ooh, yeah. And we were playing back and forth on the idea, and I'm totally gonna do that one day.
What if you should name it after him? Did you get his name?
I did get his name, but it's not coming to me right now. But like I said, yeah, there's just endless options for crepes. Anything's good in a crepe.
So it's interesting. I have been either making pancakes, waffles, or crepes. We don't typically go out for brunch when, the kids are home and everything. I've got 2 boys, and I just use it as an opportunity for us to get together. And it's been funny. My 12-year-old has been pulling. He goes, you make the batter, I'll cook it. And so when my husband comes down, he goes, oh, who made crepes? And my son's going, I did. And I said, wait, that's not fair. We did this together. But it's just beautiful to watch him take the baton. So maybe, your 8-year-old's going to steal that from you.
Oh, that is so sweet. I love that. What a great idea.
So where can listeners get more information about you and your cafe?
We have our online website that we update all of our events weekly at lisascreperie.com. We also have our social media channels that are updated every week for our food truck schedules, lisas.creperie, and on Facebook, Lisa's Creperie, and we're pretty much all over the web, so they should be able to find us there.
Team does a great job, because I giggle at a lot of the posts you put up on Instagram. That's where I follow you the most. So kudos, because they have a very youthful energy and they keep it very engaging.
Yes, thank you. That is one of the things I had to outsource last year. And I can't stress that enough for young business owners or entrepreneurs. I try to limit my phone usage as much as I can, but because of my business, and I know people are on their phones so much with social media nowadays, it's really important to have a social media influence with your business. And so we outsource that, and we have these 2 young influencers that started their own business last year, and they come and they do a photo shoot every 3 months, and it's been such a good investment to set that aside for them to do. So thank you. I'm glad that you're liking it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Even for me, the group that helps out with our stuff, they're restaurant social media people. And I said, well, majority of our clients are restaurants anyway, so we could introduce you to them and all of this. And, we do a lot of food posting on our social. And so, with the pull of the cheese and all of this and pouring drinks and doing, stuff that makes people laugh is so, it's so sticky. And they go, oh, it might be like 30 minutes away, but I gotta go check it out because here I am seeing all this and it looks delicious. I want to go try it.
Yeah, love that.
Well, a big thank you to our guest today, Lisa Thiffault, for sharing such valuable insights about her journey from crepe enthusiast to successful business owner. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep savoring the flavors of success and stay hungry for more stories from leaders and innovators in the culinary world.
My name is Lisa Thiffault with Lisa's Creperie, and you're listening to Hustle and Heart.